In this lecture, we are going to discuss second quantitative character of a plant community, which is called density. What is density? It is the numerical strength of the species per unit area or space. In simple terms, whenever we visit a plant community, we have number of populations there. Populations means group of individuals of a species. So number of populations are coexisting, and in those populations, when we count, for example, we have populations of species A, B, C, D, E, so on. When we count number of plants of A and expressed on per unit area, then this is called the density of species A. Similarly, we can do this for others also, means it is the numerical strength, means number of the plants of that particular species found per unit area or space is called density. Now, it is very, very significant. How? Because we have some stands in which uniform life forms are growing. For example, let's suppose you are visiting a grassland, and in this grassland, the common species are lawn grass. This is called cynodon. Then there is another species called euphorbia. It belongs to dicots. It's an angiospermic plant. Many species of euphorbia are growing in a grassland. You can observe Euphorbia hirta. Then there is another species, Euphorbia prostrata. Then despite grasses, you can also find sedges there. What are sedges? The sedges have triangular cross-section of the stem, whereas grasses, they have circular cross-section. That is the difference. You can easily make out whether that plant is a sedge or a grass. Then you can have some members of leguminosae, which are herbaceous, right? It means all these plants, they are herbaceous plants. They have height in few centimeters only. So they are of one type. So their life forms are mainly of the same type. So at that particular place where life form differentiation does not exist, there the density can help. This is of significant importance because the number of plants of all these species will vary, and that will define the structure of that plant community. Okay, so there it is very, very important. Now, how we calculate density? It is the number of individuals of a species divided by area sampled. See, in frequency, we used to see only the presence or absence of a species, whereas in density, we see number of plants of that species. As you can see here, this is the example, the same that we use for calculating frequency. We have total 5 quadrates and 3 species they were identified. These are the number of plants of cynodon in all quadrates. Similarly, we have number of plants of oxalis in 3 quadrates and euphorbia again in 3 quadrates. So how will you find density of these plants? Density will be, you will have total plants of respective species, okay, of a species divided by the total plants of all species into 100. So how we will calculate? This is a solution of the problem. So these are the total plants of cynodon, oxalis, euphorbia. So density will be, it is number of plants per unit area. If number of plants we are designating with L, so divided by per unit area, and let's suppose each quadrate size is 1 meter square and you lay total 5 quadrate, that means the area under consideration is 5 meters square. So this will be in denominator. So you will have total number of cynodon plants in all quadrates divided by number of quadrates. So this will give you the value 120. Then for this it is 100 upon 5. For this is 5 upon 5. So you get answer 1. Now when you have to find out the relative density, okay, relative density we always determine by comparing densities of various plants existing there. So it will be the density of particular species, let's suppose you are talking about Cynodon, divided by the density of all species into 100. So it means here it will be 120 divided by total density is 141 into 100. So it comes out to be 85.11. For Oxalis, this will be 20 divided by 141 into 100. So this comes out to be 14.18. For Euphobia, it comes out to be 0.71, and this is expressed in percentage. So this is how you can calculate relative density. Now what are the factors which affect density? Basically, this is the environment around those species which affects the density. Like if few plants, they find themselves favorable in that environment, like all the conditions of light, temperature, rainfall, humidity, they are comfortable for them, then obviously you will have more plants of that respective species. Okay? And the species for which the environment is harsh, it is not able to adapt to that particular situation, then the number of individuals of that species will be lesser. So this is directly correlated with the environmental factors which are called density determining factors. Now these are light, food, soil, temperature and soil, water. But there may be some other factors which have no effect on density. For example, let's suppose we are talking about microbial interactions. Now microbial interactions, they are not affecting the plants which are not involved as a symbiotic association. Means the plants which are mainly not from the family Leguminosae, which don't form any kind of symbiotic associations, they will not be affected by the microbial community. Which microbial community? Which is associated with nitrogen fixation. Whereas the Leguminosae plants, they will get affected by the availability of the type of microbes with which they can have association. So such factors which have no effect on density, they are called non-reactive factors. So that's all about density. Now this is the third quantitative character, cover. What is cover? It is the percentage area of the ground covered by plants. For example, you have a tree, right? Now the basal area of the tree will be the one which is corresponding to the trunk, whereas the overall area covered by plant you can get if you vertically project the extremes of its canopy and then on ground. See, it is the area of the ground. On ground, this area, that will be called its cover. So means we can have the cover expressed in two forms, either in the form of crown or in the form of base. So these are the two types, crown cover and basal cover. What is crown cover? It is the canopy cover, because the limit to which the canopy is extended, that is going to affect the understory plants. How? Because see, when the light is falling, the light will show filtration through these leaves. So obviously the wavelength will get affected and the understory flora, that will be affected. The type of flora, the number of plants of a species. So definitely this is shading the ground area below it. So that is called the canopy cover. Now canopy we word use for trees. So if you are talking about trees, because trees they form canopy, the crown cover is called canopy cover. Whereas if we are talking about grasses, let's suppose you have herbaceous plants, grasses. So in those cases, this is called the foliage or herbage cover. So there for crown cover, we use the term foliage or herbage cover. Otherwise, you can simply use the term crown cover. Okay. Now second is basal cover. Now how to determine the basal cover? This is always observed at the level called DBH. So DBH is diameter at breast height, and this is considered to be 1.5 meters from ground. So it means if there is a tree and from ground level you will measure 1.5 meter height and you will determine diameter corresponding to this point, and then that diameter will be converted into the area, pi r square, by simply applying the formula pi r square. You can find out the area, so that will be the basal cover. Now in some cases when the branching appears early in trees, for example, let's suppose you have this plant, okay, this is a ground level and the branching started appearing very early. So you don't have 1.5 meters gap. Then what will we do? Right from the base, from where the branches are arising, it may be the height may be less than 1.5, but we will select that point for measuring diameter. Okay. Now there is another instance if by chance, that is for this ground cover. Let's suppose if a plant is growing, now this is a two-dimensional view. Imagine a 3D structure in which the canopy towards one side is more, towards other side it is very less. Okay, you must have seen the plants where along different directions the canopy extended vary. Then how to measure the canopy cover? So in those cases we have to take the vertical projections of the canopy along all directions. Okay, then you will find out towards various directions the vertical projections, and from the base you will find out the area covered by ground. So this is the diagram for that. If we have herbaceous plants, then let's suppose this is the bunch of herbaceous plants growing at a place. Let's suppose it's a grass. So you all know number of pillars they arise from the horizontally growing stem. So corresponding to these extreme limits when you project, that will give you the ground cover. Whereas when you only see the base from where you have the last limit of tiller emerging out, that will give you the basal cover. Similarly, in case of trees, if you have this main trunk at the height of 1.5, you note the diameter and you can find the pi r square. So that will be the basal cover. But taking the extreme limits of the canopy, projecting it vertically downwards, this will give you the crown cover. Okay, so a example is for grasses, which is called foliage or crown cover and basal cover, and it is seen that the basal cover may be around 1 to 20% in this case, whereas the foliage cover is complete. That means 100% because that is the outermost limit. Similarly, we can have this for trees also. Now, where cover is important? Cover is important because this is an index of dominance of a species. You all know in a community, we have studied profile diagram where I mentioned that we have stratas. Profile diagram where we mentioned there are stratas. So trees, they form the topmost strata, followed by the understory. Then you have shrubs. Then there are herbs, right? They are present in different layers of height. So obviously the cover, the species which is growing at a particular place, because it is overshading the plants which are growing below it. So this is an index of dominance of that species. More is the cover, more is the dominance of the species. So this is how it is related. It is obvious that the grasses, they will have less cover as compared to tree. It is always this kind of relationship. So that shows that trees, they are dominant over grasses. So this is the significance of this term cover. Now coming to the fourth quantitative character, this is called abundance. Okay, so abundance is defined as the number of organisms. This is the number of organisms, the individuals of a species per unit area. Okay, now just recall the definition of density. That was the numerical strength per unit area. And this is also the number of individuals of a species per unit area. So both these terms, they must be related. Yes, they are related. In the calculation part, we will define what is the difference between the two. Okay. So how we calculate abundance? The number of individuals of that species in all samples divided by number of samples in which the species occurred, because you have to express it on the area basis. You can see here we have not written here total area. We are saying number of samples in which the species occurred. Then relative abundance, how we calculate that? Abundance of the species divided by abundance of all the species in the sampling area. And if you are expressing it on the percent basis, then it will be multiplied with 100. Now, on the basis of abundance, 5 classes they have been assigned. The species is called rare if you observe only 1 to 4 plants of that species per meter square area. It is called occasional or infrequent if you find 5 to 14 plants of that species in a per meter square area. It is called frequent if you have 15 to 29 plants, abundant if 30 to 99 plants, and very abundant if you have more than 100 plants of that species in per meter square area. See, it's a large calculation, and this will happen mainly when we study the grasslands. Okay, there the number of plants in per meter square area, they can correspond to more than 100. Now, abundance, it takes into account only the quadrates where the species is present. I told you in the formula also, see, in which the species occurred. It means we are not considering total area. For example, let's suppose you had this lawn area and you laid let's suppose 6 quadrates in this area, okay, and the quadrate size was 1 meter square. Then you found, let's suppose we are talking about 2 species A and B. You observe species A is present in 4 quadrats and species B is present in all the 6 quadrats. Okay, so for this the abundance will be the number of plants in those 4 quadrats divided by 4 meters square. Only the area in which that species appeared. Whereas for 6, this species B, it will be number of plants which are appearing in all 6 quadrats divided by 6 meters square. Okay, so this is a difference. For density, whatever species you are considering, if it is present in that area, it's present in your sampling quadrant or not, that doesn't matter. In the denominator, you will always have total area. Means if I am finding the density of species A, so that will be total number of plants of species A in different quadrats divided by the total area. If you have laid 6 quadrats, so it will be 6 meters square. Irrespective of the fact that species was present in only 4 quadrats, right? So that's why we say that abundance does not give the real picture of the community. Why? Because we are not considering those sampling areas where the species is not present. So that is the basic difference between abundance and density. Now this is a numerical problem. We lay total 3 quadrats and observe 5 plant species in that area. You have the number of plants of a species in these quadrats. So we had Cynodon 1000 plants in all 3 sampling quadrats, Oxalis 200, Nasus 50, Launia 3 and Euphorbia 5. Now here you have to specify area under consideration, because why? Because we have to see in which quadrats the species was present, because only that much area should be used in denominator. So here it is 3 meters square if 1 quadrant corresponds to 1 meter square. This is important. You have to mention it. Only then you can write here 3 meters square. Then this is in 2 quadrats, so 2 meters square. This again in 2 quadrats, so 2 meters square. So accordingly you will divide the number of plants of that species divided by the number of quadrats in which it appeared. So here it will be 1000 upon 3 corresponding to 333. Here it will be total number of plants are 5. Area under consideration is 2 quadrats, so you will have 2.5. Okay, so accordingly you can assign it the families, classes. Like if we have more than 100, so it is very abundant. If the value is from 30 to 99, it is abundant. Then if you have the value from 15 to 29, then it will be the next species, frequent, next class. And if the value is 1 to 4, we call it rare. Okay, so this is how you can assign different classes on the basis of abundance. This is another example to find out relative abundance. So you have now again 3 quadrant. This is the number of plants of that species. This is the area under consideration. When you divide both these terms, you will get abundance. Now abundance of a species divided by total abundance into 100 will give you this value. So for example, for this it will be abundance of euphorbia divided by total abundance into 100. So the value will come out to be 0.65%, because you are multiplying it with 100, so it should be in percent. Okay, you can express it directly also. It can be only y upon z. Only then you will not add percentage at the end, but otherwise the relative abundance can, or any relative term, it can be expressed on percent basis or just on the relative basis. So that's all for today.